Good stewards know, in at least one way, we are better than St. Peter. Don't need to raise your hands, but think about it. How many of you, from time to time, feel, I'm just not good enough? The answer is all of us. All of us from time to time have that feeling. You know, I'm just not good enough. Well, we shouldn't beat ourselves up over that. Jesus does not. In fact, I firmly believe that Jesus is a lot easier on us than we are on ourselves. In our gospel passage, we're celebrating today the Feast of the Transfiguration. Jesus says something remarkable. He shows himself at the top of a mountain as God to Peter, James, and John. Wow! We'd all think, I bet, that transformed their lives. For the rest of their lives, they had seen God. For the rest of their lives, they didn't do anything wrong. And of course, we know that's baloney. Peter, for example, people had his biggest sin by far after he had seen Jesus as God. During his passion, when Jesus needed Peter most, Peter betrayed him. Peter denied him 3 times. And then, like a scared rabbit, he went and hid himself in the upper room. James, too, went and hid himself in the upper room. Give John a little bit credit, at least he went out to the cross, but then he too got afraid, and he too went and hid himself in the upper room. They had seen the Son of God, but yet every one of them sinned in a big way. Well, we can learn a lesson from that. We're all flawed. We all sin. Sometimes in big ways. But just as Jesus never gave up on his disciples, he never gives up on us. After Peter, having seen Jesus as the Son of God, betrayed him, Jesus made him the first pope of the church. And he gave Peter, James, and John the special graces they needed to choose to become saints. Here's a modern parable. Elsie suffered from terrible self-esteem. Her siblings were all A students, Elsie a C minus. Her siblings were good-looking people, athletic. Elsie, plain, very awkward. Elsie's 2 brothers became doctors. Her sister became an accountant and opened up her own firm. Elsie, a clerk at a dollar store. She began sinking into depression. Finally, she succumbed to alcohol and drugs. She hit rock bottom after 2 years, began going the 12 steps, and went to see her priest, Father Sam, and asked him, "What can I do, Father? I'm just a nobody." And Father Sam said, "Elsie, have you seen Jesus as God? And she said, "No, Father, of course not. No one has." And he said, "Well, you're wrong. 3 apostles saw him as God. Peter, James, and John all saw him as God. And every one of them sinned even worse than you have sinned. And yet, God forgave them. God gave them the graces to choose to become saints. He made Peter the first pope. He'll give you the graces that you need to change your life." Elsie was inspired. She went to Delgado, got a degree, an associate degree in secretarial science, and became a secretary at her sister's accounting firm. She lived to be 83. When she died, she took that long walk to the pearly gates, wondering to herself, am I going to get in? Thinking to herself once again, I'm just not good enough. Well, she got to the pearly gates, and as always, Jesus was standing there looking at her with great love. And she asked the appropriate question. She asked, "Lord, may I please come in?" And Jesus said, "Well, Elsie, let me check your record." And he did, and he came back and he said, "Sweetie, you did magnificently with your life. You went from a caterpillar to a beautiful butterfly." And then Jesus paused, and it looked like he was having some kind of thought. And he said, "Peter, come over here." St. Peter came on over, and the Lord said, "Peter, you have anything to say to Elsie?" And Peter said, "Elsie, I too have looked at your record. And I'm here to tell you, you did a fabulous job. And you know what? You did it without seeing Jesus as God during your life. I saw my Lord as God during my life, and I committed greater sin than you." You know, Elsie, anyone in heaven is a saint. So let me give you a hug, Saint Elsie. My sisters and brothers, we are all called to be good stewards. And good stewards know in at least one way, we are all better than St. Peter.